And the moment you have all been waiting for, the OnePlus 9 Pro review. I've had this phone since last week. I'm gonna tell you the good, I'm gonna tell you the bad. Let's dive in. What's up guys, it's your boy Manny back here in the studio again with one more review. Guys, remember before we start the video, like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. Guys, again, I wanna say thank you so much. From last video to today, we're at 250 subscribers. Our last video was huge. It had 7,000 views on that last video and it couldn't be done without you guys. Once again, thank you guys so much. Now let's get into what we all came here for. So guys, let's get right into reviewing this. You guys know that I absolutely love OnePlus. I think they make really good phones and I've always loved how simple yet feature-packed phones they produce, and the OnePlus 9 Pro delivers 100%. I mean, let's just talk about the aesthetics to start it off. It's a beautiful phone, guys. Look at it. I mean, the color is gorgeous. That green matte frosted color is just beautiful. It hits nice with the light. It's got the little OnePlus logo centered, which I love that they centered it. You've got the shiny sides to it, which gives it a good contrast alongside with the actual Hasselblad that's also shiny, and the lenses. I mean, aesthetic wise, this phone looks amazing and feels amazing. I've talked to you guys before about the OnePlus 8 Pro. You guys know how much I like the way that the phone felt in the hand. And this is no different. This phone feels amazing in the hand, is very thin, very lightweight. So compared to the S21 Ultra, it's not as heavy and bulky as that one feels. And compared to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's not as wide. So it feels good in the hand when you have it. The camera doesn't protrude out too much. It comes out, but it's very flush. They went differently this year. They went ahead and off to the side rather than in the middle, how they did previous years. But I mean, aesthetic wise, I can't complain. I really think it's a very, very good looking phone. And I think it's very up to par with other flagship phones out there. All right guys, and getting into the actual specs of the display, you have an LTPO Fluid 2 AMOLED display. It produces 1 billion colors while using 120 refresh rate, HDR10, and 1300 nits of brightness. Beautiful display. It's a 6.7 inch display, 1440 by 3216 pixels, so it is gorgeous and very, very sharp. And it also has Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and on the back. That's the only downside I'm gonna tell you about this. Not the display, the actual glass is, I wish they would have used Gorilla Glass Victus. It's out on other phones, it's been out for a while, it's their top of the line product. It should be on this phone. When you consider the flagship phone, you want the best of the best, and I think that they brought it down, and I think they compromised and they shouldn't have. I think, you know, with a brand that their logo is never settle, they should have had the Gorilla Glass Victus. Probably would have made it a little bit more expensive. That's probably why we didn't see it here, but I would have liked to see that. I just would have liked to have a little bit more peace at mind coming as far as having a better scratch resistant and shatterproof glass goes. But other than that, guys, it's a beautiful display. It's gorgeous, it's quick, it's responsive. The 120 refresh rate, it's just butter smooth. It has 120 refresh like I told you, but it goes down all the way to 1 Hertz, so it can go down really low. That way it preserves battery and you don't waste that much battery, and you still get to do the Quad HD all the time, even at that 120. So I can't complain about the display, guys. Beautiful display. My only downside 100% is the glass. I think they should have used Gorilla Glass Victus. Guys, and jumping into the internals of this bad boy, they're flagship status, guys. We've got 2 variants in the phone. You can get an 8 gigabytes of RAM with 128 gigabytes of storage, or you can get a 12 gigabytes of RAM with 256 gigabytes of storage. That's what I have here. It's fast, it's snappy, it does the job, it performs. You can have a bunch of apps open and go back into them and you're still at the same place. You don't have to reload. Can't complain. Absolutely love the specs, flagship quality specs when it comes down to that. As far as the battery, 4,500 milliamp hour battery, could be bigger, but I think it's okay. And the reason why it's okay is because of how this phone charges, guys. Not only are we getting a 65-watt charger in the box that could produce from 0 to 100 in 29 minutes. Let me say that again, 0 to 100 in 29 minutes. But you can also get, it's a little bit extra, $69 for the extra wireless charger that does 50 watt wireless charging, and it goes from 0 to 100 in 43 minutes. I mean, guys, even if the battery is a little bit smaller, the fact that it has the capability of being charged so quickly, it's gonna get you throughout the day. I've had times, yes, when coming later on to the night, I'm getting between 4 and 5 hours of screen on time. I've had times where late in the day, I'm at 20–25% battery. But if I'm gonna go out with my wife or I'm gonna go out with the boys and hang out, I literally put it on the charger real quick, shower, change. By the time I get out, I'm ready to go. I have full battery again. And I think that's amazing. This phone charges wirelessly faster than other phones charge wired, which I think that's awesome. And the fact that you get that 65-watt charger in the box, you don't have to pay extra like Apple. You don't have to pay extra like Samsung. Not only don't you have to pay extra, but you get more and faster charging. I think that's awesome, guys. That's above and beyond when it comes down to flagship status and when it comes down to a phone. So I can't complain. Absolutely amazing. Guys, and where all the hype has been around is the camera. This partnership with Hasselblad, that's where all the hype has been around. Is it worth it? We're gonna find out. I have some pictures that I took and we're gonna go over them. But first, let's go over the specs of the actual camera. In the back of this bad boy, you have a quad array of cameras. You have a 48 megapixel f1.8 wide lens. Then you have an 8 megapixel f2.4 telephoto lens capable of 3.3 optical zoom. You have a 50 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide lens, which is beautiful, let me add. And you have a 2 megapixel f2.4 depth lens. The partnership with Hasselblad as of now is working on the color calibration when it comes down to the pictures. As far as the video goes, it's capable of shooting 8K at 30 frames per second. It's capable of shooting 4K at 30, 60, and 120 frames per second. It's also capable of shooting at 1080p, 30, 60, and 240 frames per second, also with auto HDR. As far as the selfie camera goes, it's a 16 megapixel f2.4 wide camera, also with auto HDR, and the video is a 1080p, 30 frames per second. Guys, the one downside that I'm gonna tell you is that selfie camera. The fact that it only does 1080p, I think they dropped the ball on that. I think, especially when all the hype is around you partnering with a camera company to make the phone better, and I think that every company now is trying to go crazy with the cameras and make the best cameras out there, and you go ahead and put a 1080p camera on the front, I think they dropped the ball on that one, guys. I think it was an overlook. I think they didn't really pay attention to the front camera. They really focused on the back, and that's something that is kind of a downer, to be honest with you, because when you start talking about these cameras back here, you've got some amazing stuff. That ultra wide camera at 50 megapixel, guys, it is amazing. It's got a bigger sensor than even the iPhone does. It's beautiful, it's crisp, the colors are nice, they're accurate. I can't complain about it. It's a gorgeous camera. But then you go into recording yourself, especially now in the days that we are now, a lot of people are doing a lot of video calls. A lot of people are doing a lot of taking videos and walking around for Instagram and for Snapchat and for all these things. And you're only stuck to shooting at 1080. I think that's a real downside on that. But other than that, the cameras are very good. And going straight into my final review, guys, I really, really, really like this phone. Again, it's an amazing phone. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's got the specs. It lacks in some places, but it's very good. I'll tell you the pros and I'm gonna tell you the cons. My top features, my top pros for this phone is the cameras. The ultra wide camera on this, it is beautiful, guys. It is amazing, you can't complain, I love it. The night pictures that this phone takes are outstanding. You can see everything, very good detail, very good light, obviously, since you have such a big sensor. It's capable of doing macro, which is really good. The macro is, it's okay. It's a hit or miss. Sometimes you get really good pictures. Sometimes the pictures are really off. But I think that kind of happens with the macro, but it's awesome to have it there. The one thing that I wish it did have, and I think it's just personal preference, is I wish it did a better zoom. Instead of a 3.3, I wish it can go at least maybe to 10 or to 30. It can, but it's optical, so it doesn't look good. But then you have the S21 Ultra with capable up to 100 times zoom. Man, and sometimes you think to yourself like, am I really gonna need it? Do I really need that far of a zoom? And most of the time, yes, the answer is yes, you don't need it. But guess what? Like having it there and just it being it there, you could find uses for it. The other night, there was a gorgeous full moon out and I ran into the house to pick up the S21 to be able to take a picture of it because I can get that close. So I think that next year, if they add a better zoom lens to this, I think it's gonna make it well-rounded. I think if they get that front camera and get it to a 4K, I think it would be amazing. And to be honest, those are my downsides. As far as the pros, the charging of this phone, guys, what? The fact that you can charge the phone that fast and the fact that you can charge it that fast wirelessly and wired, I think that's awesome. That is a huge bonus. I think that's awesome. I would like to see a bigger battery maybe, but I think that it's okay because of, again, of the charging speed you're capable of. So as far as the phone, guys, well-rounded phone. I can't complain. I will tell you this, it is competing. It is competing with the iPhone and it is competing with the S21. I've always liked their operating system. OnePlus's Oxygen OS is just, it's so basic, so simple that it's so smooth using it with the phone. It's snappy, it's quick, so I love it. So it compares to the other one, it battles them, it's right up there. I think right now, as far as best phones out there, we're gonna look at the S21 Ultra and this guy. I think this does beat the iPhone when it comes down to the cameras and when it comes down to the features. You get a lot more here. You get a charger in the box. It's just, and it's weird how they do this because it's a cheaper phone, but then you get these little extra features. So I don't know. I like OnePlus. I think they're a great company. I think they're just gonna keep getting better and better. This partnership with Hasselblad so far is pretty good. And later on in the future, when they start getting a little bit more into the actual hardware and cameras and lenses, I think it's gonna be really good. But guys, I like this phone. I'm gonna use it for a while. I still have my S21, and what I'm gonna do is compare the cameras to this, so that way you can see the pictures and you for yourself can see which phone you would prefer and which one for you would like. But if it was me, would I recommend this phone for you? 100%. I would recommend it. If you can, buy it. It's a great phone. It's a good looking phone. You're gonna get some really good pictures. You're gonna get some really good performance. Can't complain, guys. But again, this is Manny signing out with one more review.